How do you know when your thoughts are not serving you? We're going to talk about this today. This is Tom Karen with the Be Something Wonderful studio of Higher Consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Welcome back, creators. I got a great lesson today about thoughts. We've talked a lot about these, especially with the teachings of the work by Byron. I'll leave another link below. But really the message is, guys, if the thought it doesn't feel good, it's not serving you. If there's any discomfort, if there's any tension, if there's any anxiety, if there's any judgment, it's not serving you. And mostly, and all of our thoughts are not true, right? This is what the questioning of the work does. So, truth is love. So what's true for you, what feels good, if it's a loving thought, hang on to it. It's okay. Even those thoughts are not real, right? What's really true for you, what's really real is underneath your thoughts. It's behind your thoughts. It's that awareness behind it. But if they feel good, if it feels like love, then hang on to it. But really make sure that it's real love and it's not this. You could say if you're thinking about a person, for example, oh, they really love me. Well, here's the problem with that thought. Do they really? And the first time that reality or something shows you that that's not true, you start feeling bad. So be very careful with that. Pure thought generally is because we get attached to it. And we get attached to the story about the story, not really the stuff, not really the people. We get attached to the story about the stuff. We get attached to the story about the people, right? And that's what causes us suffering. So any thought that makes you uncomfortable is not true. It's not true. The only thoughts that would be true would be if it was pure love, unconditional love, no conditions. Right? Love by the purest form, because that's what you're made of. That's where we come from. So that's why we feel bad. That's what emotions tell us, right? Emotions tell us if we're off from that love that we are. If it's a joyful emotion, then we're connected. If it's a joyful thought, keep it. That's a good thought. If it's anything other than that, if it's painful, sometimes we hang in the thoughts because we want to be right. We want to prove something. And we don't realize it doesn't feel comfortable, right? You might think it feels comfortable. Oh, if I'm right, that will feel good. But it's not that. It's not the joy. It's not the pure love that you're made of. There's an offness in it. There's a restlessness in it. There's a discomfort in it. Can you feel it when you want to prove you're right? There's something in it that's not right. So anything that's off, right? Anything that opposes, resists, or judges is not true. And is a thought that doesn't serve you, right? And what happens? We just get attached. Anytime we get attached to any thought, that limits us, right? It's best to question the thoughts and then let them pass. Don't get attached to them. Don't try to get rid of them. We've talked about this. Don't try to minimize them. Don't try to not think them. You're not even thinking the thoughts. Those thoughts come through. Be the observer of those thoughts. Interesting, right? And then let them pass. It's only when we start attaching emotions and attaching ourselves to the thoughts that it starts hurting. This is where suffering comes from. Even if there's sometimes joyful thoughts where we start thinking, well, it's not going to last, then another thought comes in. This is how it happens, right? So question your thoughts. I'll put another link to the work by Byron. Very, very interesting look at thoughts and the power of questioning your thoughts. And that our stories that we make up in life, the stories from the ego is not there to make you feel good. The ego is there to protect itself, right? And so it's always going to come in it's going to make comparisons, it's going to make judgments. You might think, if you say to something, oh, that's good or that's bad, you may think you feel good in that, but it's still a judgment. There's something off about that. That's not the love that you are. So that's what I wanted to get through today, guys, is that most of your thoughts are not serving you, right? So don't get attached to them and don't let them define who you are. Who you really are is love. And anything that doesn't feel like that love is not serving you. Anything The reason we get so attached is because that's how we identify ourselves. We identify ourselves with this ego identity, with these thoughts that we think are true. And we wrap stories around them. And we become our story. And we lose ourselves in our story. And we lose ourselves in this ego identification. And then we can only suffer. Right? Even when we're trying to compete, there's nothing to improve. I just want you to know that. You don't need to compete. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to stack up trophies, promotions, money, praise, approval. It all comes from the inside. It all comes from you, who you really are. You're already that, right? So this is what I wanted to get at today, guys. If it feels negative, if it feels off, if there's any discomfort, and Byron Katie calls it if it's a stressful thought. She says stress. Anything like that, it's not true, it's not who you are, and it's not serving you. We'll talk more about this stuff, guys. This is Tom Kieran with the Be Something Wonderful studio of Higher Consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share and like our videos. That's how we get our message out. This is Tom with Be Something Wonderful with great love. Until next time. See you soon.